What's up, guys? It's Revolution GVS coming back at you with another video. This one's a little bit different. Today we're doing a podcast, and I'm joined here with Ryan
What's up?
and Caleb.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about if Infinite Warfare would be better without supply drops, and what they can do to help make Infinite Warfare better and a future COD better. So, Ryan, would you like to start us off?
Sure. So pretty much, I've been wanting to talk about this topic for a while because I usually don't play Infinite Warfare as a whole. I love Modern Warfare Remastered, and it was just one of those things where, like, with all the leaderboard problems that people have been having, where they say that supply drops is affecting the problems with the leaderboards not coming into the game fast enough. It's just one of these topics where I was thinking about, well, if supply drops weren't in the game, would the game be a lot better and be a lot more loved? Because if you think about it, our view on COD has been manipulated because of these supply drops. Like, pretty much, if you ask anybody who plays Call of Duty nowadays, pretty much has a problem with supply drops and supply drops only. Like, the gameplay isn't really that bad if you think about it. It's just the advanced movement, yeah, people don't really like. But other than that, it's mainly the supply drops that people have a problem with. So, just coming off of that, I would say that, yes, supply drops do affect the game in a very negative way, obviously. And it would have been Infinite Warfare would have been a lot better if they did not have supply drops. Like, let's say there would have been leaderboards, or there would have been more gameplay improvements, or more, let's say, content like vanilla content. So if just basing it off of that, pretty much, yeah, I uh, think that supply drops negatively affected the game.
Now, Ryan, I'd just like to add something to that real quick. I have honestly, playing Infection, playing TDM, I have played probably in total, multiplayer-wise, of Infinite Warfare, about an hour. And playing those game modes, they weren't actually that bad. But then the second I came into contact with someone who had a supply drop weapon, or who had a better weapon, even with like the crafting system, it just became immediately annoying because their weapon was so much better than mine, and I just couldn't even like get a shot off on them because I was already dead. And I don't know if you've experienced the same problems in your gameplay, but it's just I feel like the supply drops in the crafting system gives people an advantage who have more money than people who don't have money.
So I've actually.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, go ahead, Caleb. Go ahead.
All right. From what my take on it is, I personally haven't played Infinite Warfare all too much because I'm not the biggest fan of advanced movement. But they definitely did tone it down a little bit from Advanced Warfare, which I did like about that. But again, just kind of stating the obvious is that whenever you're playing someone who is willing to spend hundreds of dollars on the game to get a gun versus you who may not be making a lot of money, or you just don't have the money to spend right now, stuff like that, it's kind of annoying and aggravating just because you I don't know, you're left in the dust pretty much. Like, it makes it seem like they're money grieving, trying to just get all your money and stuff. But that's where, like, my idea on it is like, they should make it to where you can earn the guns, but you have to grind it out. Like, you have to work hard for it, or you could also buy it. Like, there's the double option there.
Now, see, like,
So,
the thing with that, I'm
kinda-
sorry to cut you off, but the thing with that is
That's fine.
they do kind of have that already with the whole, like, crypto keys or whatever it's called now in this game. But it's very hard and it's very unbalanced.
Yeah, it is so hard to grind those crypto
The
keys.
grind should really be a little bit less because of just it's impossible to grind out this game without spending money and getting the things that you want, because of the chances of getting the things that most people want are actually pretty low from what I can tell. Like in Black Ops 3, when they had supply drops and everybody was complaining about them, it took me like a good couple months after some of the weapons were added to even get a chance of getting them. So the fact that they're so rare, even if you do grind it out, it's just there's no point. It'd be better just to buy it if you had the money. So that's why I think nobody really likes the supply drop system who doesn't have money.
Like, especially
And
for Modern
also
Warfare
the-
Remastered, like, I rarely get I'm really lucky to get 3 depot credits per game. Like, it's very hard to do that. So if you're trying to get a rare supply drop, because to be honest, you're not getting anything out of common supply drops, barely. So you're going to go
You have
for
to be
those
so
rares.
lucky.
Yeah,
And then the
you have to
drop
be
rate
very,
is probably
very
like
lucky.
may at the most
Like
like 2%.
.08 for like a weapon. And even in Modern Warfare
For a
Remastered, you
weapon,
cannot get
yeah.
these weapons. You have to do the collections.
In the collections,
The
it's like you have to
I
find
think-
those or earn enough scrap, and eventually you're just going to get to the point where it's like, should I be spending money on this?
And
Yeah.
then, like, to be honest, it's more satisfying whenever you unlock a gun that you've worked so hard for over over course of weeks versus whenever
But you
just
can't
like
do that. Like, it's so
yeah,
hard to
but
do
you
that.
can't do that.
It
Like,
takes
that's
forever.
like I'm kind of bringing in like currently my favorite game right now is Rainbow Six Siege. Like, I like the way how they handled it. Everything is free, but if you're kind of lazy, they're okay with that. They'll happily take your money if you want to kind of bypass that process. But other people want to grind out for that.
And-
Which
And
that's what I
also-
like about it.
That Rainbow Six Siege aspect, even if you wanted to pay money for those, let's say, operators, it's just $30. It isn't even, you have to
Yeah.
spend $100 for a chance to get those operators.
It's a
So that's where
guaranteed
COD
thing.
fails. Yeah, it's a guaranteed thing. So that's where COD's supply drops fail, is that it's not guaranteed at all.
Honestly,
Taking away from another YouTuber, he says pretty much you're paying for a chance to get these weapons, and it sucks to say that, but it's very true.
honestly, the thing about
It's
it
kind of
is,
it's kind of like sorry for cutting you off, Andrew, but it's kind of like Battlefield in my opinion. Like, if you make it free to play, but like again you can buy it, it's like it doesn't divide the community as much as it does. It
No.
doesn't like kill the game.
I think a very simple solution that Activision fails to neglect because they're a little bit money greedy, I think we all know that, is if they just increase the rarity or like the drop rate of these certain weapons, I feel like they wouldn't have as much hate towards their supply drop system. If they just made these weapons that people want so bad and were willing to spend money on, if they just made it more common to get them, people won't be as disappointed and angry with it.
See,
Or
now
maybe
people
make
can
more of
disagree with me
them.
on this. People can disagree with me on this, but that's where actually Advanced Warfare supply drop succeeded. Because even if you don't pay, you first of all, you had a lot better chance than you did to right now to get one of those really good variants. And plus, you're always getting a variant. And those guns that they added into the game sucked. So I'm just going to exclude those for right now. Those variants, pretty much, you didn't need the epic variants in order to like succeed in the game. You really didn't. It was pretty much more about skill than it was towards those weapons.
Now, if we're touching on that, the thing that they really messed up about in when they introduced it to Black Ops 3 is they said that it would be purely cosmetic, and everyone was fine with that. And then they basically went behind their own
That
word.
was just salt on the wound right there.
Yeah, they just went behind their own
Because
word.
they made it
and
work, because they pretty much lied.
Yeah, they did. No, it's not pretty much. They did lie. Because they said it was going to be purely cosmetic at the start of it, and then they added in new weapons. And at first, with the melee weapons, I was cool with it. I'm like, okay, it's not stat changing, it's still kind of cosmetic. And then they added in guns, and I'm like, okay, this is just unfair now. Because the people who have already spent the money to get the melee weapons are obviously going to spend the money to get the guns.
And see, okay, now, going off of that, where it's saying pretty much, okay, they lied to the community, we still, as a community, bought those supply drops. They earned over $3 billion in supply drops last year. Oh, like almost 4.0, I'm pretty sure, $4 billion. But that pretty much told Activision, hey, we could say whatever we want to these people, and they'll still buy them.
Now, see, that's where we messed up as a community.
That also affected, yeah, and that affected the way they treat the gameplay, more of the, like, because that showed them that they can care more about profit than gameplay.
Now, see, what I think they really, this year even, what they really messed up on was with the pre-order, or not the pre-order bonus, the $80 edition of Infinite Warfare came with a remastered, version of MWR, which is stands for Modern Warfare Remastered, and it
Sorry
was
for cutting you
barely
off there, Andrew,
finished
but
by the time when they released it. It was barely finished, and then they came out with this huge update like a couple months later that actually completed it. I feel like if they would have just taken the time and released MWR later on in the year, it would have been better and people wouldn't have received backlash
Yeah,
for it.
because the code for the DLC weapons that they added was already in the game at the start. So they were planning on adding supply drops.
Which just shows they care more
and
about
then
supply drops
also-
because they didn't even finish the maps yet. They didn't even finish the game yet. There were so many bugs that they could have fixed before they added in supply drops and stuff that it was just like, why would you do that when your game isn't even complete yet?
And then also let's take into account for if you go into like the store and try to buy Infinite Warfare, it will be $60. But if you buy the bundle, it will be $80. So that means that COD Remastered is only $20, and then the DLC for I think it was like 18% of the game is $15. That's 75% of the money that you spent on the game for only like 17%.
Now, see,
Which
like,
I think is ridiculous.
the fact in the matter of they added in supply drops, which changed the game. So technically, it's not even remastered anymore because they changed a major aspect of the game. So
Yes.
they should be giving out this DLC for free with how much money they're making off of this supply drop system. Yet
And
they know
really
that
the
they
only
will make
reason why
more
they
money
made any money
if
is because
they
it's
just
only
leave
like
it how it
that game.
is and make you pay $15 for the rest of the maps. Honestly, I'm at
And
the
the other
debate
way-
with myself right now. Are the maps worth it? Because it's $15,
See,
which is
now
$5
here's the thing,
less.
okay? This is where it starts getting negatively affecting the way we're treated, because the way they're justifying that additional $5 is, oh, you get 10 rare supply drops. Take that. That's $5 right there. That's an amazing value. It's like, no, you can't use that as a justification for adding another $5. You can't. So if let's say they didn't have supply drops in Modern Warfare, it'd still be $10. There would be no problem with the game, or the community didn't have with that, like the money of the DLC, the cost of the DLC.
Now, see,
So that's where supply drops negatively affects it.
I completely agree with you on that, but even if they did have supply drops, they could have handled this situation better by making the DLC maybe $5. I get it, they're trying to make money. They're a business. At the end of the day, I understand all of that. But this business has lied, and this business is doing literally anything they can to basically screw over their consumers and just make as much money as possible.
And their very large fan base that has supported their company
For
over
years.
many years.
Actually, they
Many
haven't really supported them financially, yes, but they haven't really supported Activision. I'm just gonna say this right now. They haven't supported
This is true.
Activision. They supported more of the developers. And we have another topic coming out, hopefully later, like if this podcast is successful, talking about if it's the developers' fault or Activision's fault, if the problems of Call of Duty. But
That is a very fine line
we-
that we're walking there, though.
yeah,
That is a very fine
But-
line because that's a very opinionated line. And if there could
Yeah.
be like so many people that think it's Activision's fault, but there could also be so many factors that we don't even know and can not take into account for because of the fact that we don't know.
yeah. And so, going back to my point when I said before about the 10 rare supply drops adding the $5, who's to say they won't do this in the future with Infinite Warfare DLC? Or more Modern Warfare DLC? What if they added 4 more new maps? How pissed would people be then? But it's to the point where they can do anything with these supply drops. They could give it as a pre-order bonus and that's it. No map, no nothing. Just pre-order now and you get 20 rare supply drops. They could do that because they know we're gonna buy it.
Now, see, I don't want to go too far off topic here, but my biggest fear is that Black Ops 2 is going to become remastered and that they're going to add in supply drops. And honestly, I feel like if they do that, it will...
Black Ops 2.
It'll very... Black Ops 2. It'll very much change the way the game works because that game was flawless, in my opinion. There was so much... There were so many good things about it, especially the zombies mode.
was amazing. Campaign was really good.
Zombies.
Multiplayer was just amazing.
Some people may disagree with me, but in my opinion, that was the best zombies.
My opinion,
game
best
that,
era of zombies.
Call of Duty has
Now,
ever come out with.
What could be our salvation also is more people have played Black Ops 2 than they have played MWR or Modern Warfare or Card 4, however you want to say it. So maybe more people get pissed off about the fact that they're adding in supply drops to Black Ops 2 because more people have played it.
Or maybe
Yeah.
what they'll do, they're only adding the multiplayer for Black Ops 2, and then just for like say $20, maybe $30, and then add in a DLC for zombies, and then you also have to buy the season pass for zombies just because they like to milk out the money.
And if we do see a Black Ops 2 remaster this year, next year, whatever, that just you can start to see a pattern of what they're gonna do. Pretty much, I could tell that they're trying to make these games, remaster these games, so they can come up with more channels for people to buy supply drops.
And to make money.
Like, if they remaster, let's say that's not gonna happen, but they remaster 3 Call of Duties this year. I bet you every single game is gonna have a supply drop system in it because it's the maximum amount of money.
I mean, yes, again, from a business standpoint, I mean, of course they're trying to make as much money as they possibly can, but
you
still
can't even
screwing
defend them
over
for that
everyone.
too, because
Yeah,
there should be a balance, right? There should be a balance of how much you take care of your game, like gameplay wise, and profit. When you're making like millions of dollars just on the launch of the game, you should be perfectly fine. You should.
billions.
Billions. Like, they've outsold Battlefield so many times. I mean, finally, Battlefield outsold them this year. But they've made so much money. Like, why do you need these supply drops? Because it works. And it makes them so much more money. And so now it's getting to the point where the profit side is overlapping the gameplay. And it's going to get to the point where these COD games are really bad. They're going to become really bad because they're not focusing.
Ryan, correct me if I'm
And
wrong,
then
but wasn't
also
there like
other
a...
games. Sorry.
Sorry, Caleb, you speak.
But then also like it's kind of like corrupting other games because they're realizing, hey, these guys are making so much money off
So
these
much more
supply
money,
drops,
they follow in their tracks.
they follow in their tracks because I mean, like, why wouldn't you want to make an extra? I don't know how much money. A lot. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, from a business standpoint, again, who wouldn't want to make more money? But also, since it is a video game and they have a fan base, you have to be nice to the fan base, or else they won't come back for more.
Yeah, exactly. What's the point of making so much money, and you're forcing like them to pay you money, when that game's gonna be like pretty much
Ryan,
broken,
I'm sorry
and
to
nobody's
interrupt,
gonna
but
want to play it in the next couple of years?
wasn't Infinite Warfare due for a big update, but instead they decided to add in new camos and stuff before that?
So yes,
That's just going into the point of
that's the main point
maintenance
I'm getting
before
at.
money, maintenance before profit. That's what it should be.
They did not have leaderboards for a while. They did not have combat records for a while. Those are the staples of the multiplayer, right? When you look at a person's stats, you go to their combat record. You look at the leaderboards, right? They don't have that. But they said, "Oh, we'll add leaderboards. We'll add combat records. Don't worry." But instead, they started their main priority was adding more content into supply drops and making it worse.
And then if you look at like the most successful games of the year, like they all, like top I think like 5 or something, they had a launch, they had a certain fan base, and then that fan base grew, which is rare, but it sometimes happens with really good games. Call of Duty, there was a large launch, it kind of maintained, and then it just drops severely, and then it goes back up every once in a while whenever DLC comes out, also known as supply drops, because I mean it's kind of like gambling. It's hard not to like it.
Now, see, the thing is, Caleb, Call of Duty had such a respectable fan base and such a large fan base. They were honestly untouchable at one point or another, in my opinion. No company could beat them. And then, ever since they added in supply drops, not including Advanced Warfare, everybody was fine with it then. After that, they started plummeting. And it was slow at first, but when Infinite Warfare came out, I honestly think that was the peak of their plummet. Because they lost so many fans.
I'm going with Black Ops 3 as their plummet.
I would have... No, Black Ops 3 was a solid game. Infinite Warfare was the game.
It was a really good game.
Infinite Warfare
whenever they started, like
the point where they started
declining.
declining.
They got infected, yeah.
Because
like they got infected, and then it took them a little bit for it to develop, and then
along with what Andrew's saying with the fan base not caring anymore, I recently logged on to Infinite Warfare just to check it out, and turns out I had 20 crypto keys and two common supply drops I could open. So I opened about 3. And the last one, out of a common supply drop, I got the new weapons that they added into the depot about a month ago. That new weapon that turns into the defibrillators. Now, I was so surprised, and I didn't feel happy because I was like, well, I'm not going to be playing this game. So if I played that game and I actually liked that game, then I would have been happy about getting that. But I really didn't. I was just, oh, okay. Because
Hey, that's kind of
they're
cool.
making the game worse with the supply drops.
Now, see, honestly,
Because again, it's a risk. It's like there's no guarantee that you're
Yeah.
gonna get it, which is BS. Like, or at least like make it to
Again,
where it's
paying
not
for
a
a chance.
supply drop. Like you actually have to buy the gun itself, but like you buy like game credits instead of supply drops, instead of game credits to buy.
Along
supply
with Rainbow Six Siege, where they did the R6
Yeah,
R6 credits.
now
The- the
this
ar-
is
the
the
where you
thing.
could buy the
credits.
camos.
This is the thing, guys. In Black Ops 3, they actually did a decent way of fixing it. They came out with this like guaranteed weapons case where if you spent
Yeah,
the
the
crypto
bribes.
keys,
The bribes, yeah.
the bribes, you would
Yeah.
guarantee get a weapon, and that was fine. The community was fine with that. They do that like once a month. We're cool, but then they took it away in Infinite Warfare, and I don't know if they plan on adding it. But if they don't, that's honestly just gypping us. Because why would you add it in the
So-
last game but not add it in this game?
When I logged on with those 4 common supply drops, there was a bribe, but it was so stupid. The bribe was for a taunt that you get in-game that you could use. First of all, I used the bribe because I just had enough parts. I used the bribe. I got one that I already had. And, like, number 2, who's going to really care about a taunt? I'm sorry, but who is?
It's like
Oh,
taunts
in
are
the
so
game,
cosmetic in the
I
fact
got
of
top of leaderboard. Huh.
it's like Call of Duty Black Ops 3. The taunts were so stupid. They had the whip. That I get it. They're trying to attract the audience.
Dabbing.
But no one really cared about
Yeah,
that.
sure,
I was happy
fine,
with the
whatever.
taunts I had if I even made it on top leaderboard. And it's like, why would you spend money to get a taunt when it's not even guaranteed you're on top leaderboard and people will see it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like honestly, it's like makes me think like is EA behind this? Because I mean like it seems like they're perfectly fine with bankrupting people on a chance.
Yeah, that is true.
It's kind of like
Because-
FIFA. It's like it's so rare. Like the drop rate for these unbelievably amazing things is so stupidly low that you'll probably
Yeah,
have to
actually,
spend
honestly,
$200 before
I'm
you can
pretty
get
sure
one.
it's like a competition of who can make the most money, either EA or Activision. EA's been plummeting with profits because nobody really buys FIFA points anymore because it's
They
kind
realized that
of-
it was stupid.
well, it's not
How-
really
you're
nobody's
spending
playing it, but
thousands of dollars on
Yeah.
something that won't even
I'm
last
not saying nobody's
longer than
buying
a
it,
year.
but it has died down in popularity. KSI, one of the who is known
biggest
for opening
FIFA
these,
YouTuber.
yeah,
Yeah,
who is
quit
known for
YouTube
opening these,
recently.
just quit YouTube
Wow,
first of all.
quit?
Second of all, he a long time ago, like about a year ago, when FIFA 17 came out, he quit that. So I know we're kind of getting off topic, but it's pretty much saying Activision is the leading profit maker of micro DLC right now, and it's very scary that they're gonna control
Now,
other
see,
games as well.
a point that I think we're kind of failing to realize is, have you ever... So, Ryan, when you opened up... I know you don't really care about Infinite Warfare that much, but tell me, when you opened up that new weapon, you were excited. You were like, oh my gosh, I got this new weapon. It's cool.
No, I wasn't excited. I was surprised. I was like, "Oh, really? Wow."
Because
okay.
back
I
in
wasn't
Black Ops
really
3, I
excited.
had the chance to get the NX Shadow Claws, and when I got them, I was ecstatic, I was crazy, I was screaming.
because I played that game. Like,
Exactly. But then
actually
after a
had
while,
a
I realized
respect
it's
for
an
that game.
in-game thing that doesn't even matter, and it's actually getting boring now. Why was I so happy, and why did I spend money to get it? Because I spent about $5 to get that, honestly.
Like,
And I know
even
that's not a
if
lot, but still.
like, even if I was guaranteed a weapon, I was still
$5
excited
adds
about
up.
Black Ops 3. Like when one of the specialist contracts that first came out, one of the first contracts was a specialist
Yeah.
contract. You had to get 75 wins, you get 10 rare supply drops, and a weapon bribe. I knew that I was gonna get some weapon, and I was still excited and surprised that I still got it. I got the FFAR, which is the FAMAS remake, because I played that game. I was really excited, and I sometimes still play it today, because yeah.
Zombies is one of the best, but we're getting off topic here. Honestly, I think we need to start thinking about some solutions and what they can do in the future, or maybe even add into this current COD to make it a little bit better and make it a little bit more fair.
Again,
So,
kind of
okay.
restating my point to where you can
Yeah.
grind it out for it. Like they give you an option they give you both options to where if you don't feel like spending money on it, or like say you don't care about the game enough, but you still want these new weapons because they're pretty freaking good, you grind out for it. But if you care about the game enough and you want it that bad, you can also buy money. So you're both getting money off of it because most people, like a lot of people, really don't feel like putting in that grind. But then there are also a lot of people who will put in
Now,
that
see,
grind, and
that's
yeah,
already implemented into the
kind of like the
game,
Rainbow Six Siege.
but it's
See now, okay,
it's too
with
low.
those
It's
new
too low of a
items
rate.
that were added, the first thing I want to say is that rifle that I used, that I got out of supply drops, that defibrillator gun. I don't know if I was rusty. I probably am, but I did really bad with the gun. Like the gun is not that good in its fire mode. I just ran around with its defibrillators. Now number two, um, they did actually have that when they added those weapons into Infinite Warfare. They added the that gun. They also added the automatic pistol.
Oh yeah, I remember
And
that.
they add the axe. The only thing that you can get out of supply drops was the axe. And they even gave you the defibrillator gun if you have the season patch, which nobody had. So that's why it didn't really help. But still, you couldn't get those out of... Well, you could, but you could get them out of challenges.
Yeah.
Along with that, I think Infinite Warfare... What if they just... I feel like they should just put a pause on supply drops. I'm not saying completely stop the supply drop system and get rid of it. I'm saying put a pause on it, fix what needs to be fixed in the game, and then maybe start adding a lot more content in the future. That's cool. I have no problem with that.
Now, Ryan.
Yeah, because I'm almost certain that I'm almost certain that if your fan base likes the game enough, then and you still have those supply drops, but like it's a high drop rate or something like that, they'll go back for more. Like
No.
Because
so, just
the main
if they're
problem...
consistently playing the game, you're probably gonna make more money off of them consistently playing the game than just going there for a week or two buying some supply drops versus buying a lot of supply drops over a long period of time.
Now,
Because the main problem with it is that what the community has a problem with Infinite Warfare is not that they're adding a lot of shit into supply drops, but more there's so many gameplay issues that they have. But they're still adding stuff into supply drops. That's the problem, is that they're not focusing on the gameplay issues. They're focusing more on the content.
Now, the thing that I honestly I would be fine with is they don't give you this option, but I wish that they would. If you don't like something out of a supply drop, you have to wait till you get it again before you can get scrapped for it. You can't just scrap it in general. And I think that's what EA really makes, like, that's what makes their supply drop system a little bit better, is if you don't like something, you can just scrap it in general.
Sell it, or you could auction it for a lot more money.
Oh, we're talking about Battlefield, right? You were talking about Battlefield, right, Andrew?
Yeah, they have that implemented, and it works a lot better.
I was talking about FIFA too.
Yeah, I knew you were talking about FIFA, Ryan.
Yeah, but that's where also Advanced Warfare succeeded, because you were able to scrap these weapons not for currency or anything like that, but you were able to scrap it for XP. Granted, it wasn't not a lot of XP, but you still were able to.
Enough to make a small difference.
Yeah, and saying all that, Advanced Warfare is probably the best supply drop system out there right now. It really is. It had a lot of
really
features.
Great.
Yeah,
it
because
was honestly...
they didn't focus more on profit, because it was kind of like a beta for supply drops, if you think about it.
Now, see, the thing
and
that
then also,
they messed
like,
up
it
with...
was just so, like, because personally, I did spend a decent amount of money in supply drops for Advanced Warfare, because, I mean, I love the game. It's to date my favorite advanced movement game. But it was, I don't know, it was kind of, I still think that it's screwy, because it's literally gambling. It's literally gambling, and you're paying so much freaking money for a chance at this gun that really only affects it by a little bit. Maybe the damage or the recoil or something like that. Maybe the range, but that's really it. If you can get a headshot or something, you're most likely gonna win that gunfight versus someone who's shooting you in the stomach with a little bit more damage.
Now, the thing I have with the supply drop system, I was cool with it. It's a new game, Infinite Warfare, yeah. But when they added it to MWR, I got a little bit upset because it's like, why try to fix something that isn't broken? I get it. They're a business. We've said this a bunch. They're trying to make money. But again, why would you try to fix something that isn't broken and risk breaking it in the process?
It's honestly now not Modern Warfare Remastered. It's Modern Warfare Reimagined.
2.0.
Pretty much.
Because so
Yeah.
much has changed.
Yeah, it's Modern Warfare 2.0. Yeah, because like technically speaking, if the game has already come out, then you should already get all of that content with the game at the release of the
Exactly.
game.
They should have made it like
Not
a $35 release if they
not
wanted
this
more money.
DLC crap.
And I
And honestly, the
completely
community
cool.
would have bought that. The community would have still bought that.
Yep.
Like they
I
wouldn't
would've.
care, because I mean, like honestly, how it works: new Call of Duty game comes out, you buy it. It's how it works.
It's because they had such a respectable fan base,
It
but it's
made-
just going down the drain now.
It may change, and from what I've seen, it most likely will change. But people are still gonna buy it, like
See,
no
I
matter
would've been
what.
completely cool with
A
with all
full
those
game.
weapon kits. No,
Yeah.
Modern Warfare Remastered with those weapon kits and those camos and the reticles and everything. I know the reticles and stuff are pretty stupid, but the kits, I mean, they added into Operation Lion Strike, which they added with the Shamrock
They
and
were
Awe
really cool.
seasonal event.
Mhm.
They are really like good.
The-
And I would have been completely fine with that if they didn't
But they
add
added
weapons,
in
but they had to
weapons.
add
That was
weapons
the
to ruin
problem.
it. So just going back to Infinite Warfare, even if they didn't, we knew they were going to add weapons. And you can't really say the same because Infinite Warfare is a new game, but adding in those weapons and all that new content just ruined the game completely. So yeah, pretty much the topic, did supply drops ruin Infinite Warfare? Yes, it did. And it's going to be hard
Honestly,
to
in
come
my-
back from it, but they can.
Honestly, in my opinion, it didn't only ruin Modern Warfare. I feel like it ruined the franchise.
I feel
It
like
did ruin the because we're always gonna have this tainted perception of this game now.
Yeah.
Even if they fix it, we're gonna be like, oh, they still have the opportunity to just come out with let's say 10 years from now, there's the supply drop system is gone. There's no more new weapons, no more new nothing, right? We still can have that in the back of our head saying, well, at any time they could just add in a supply drop system, and they know people will buy it, and it's just screwed up the franchise.
now see a solution to that would be is if they add it in the next COD, and that's the reason that next COD is bad, and we just come together as a community and just don't buy them. And I know that's hard because a lot of people just want the stuff, but if we just don't buy them, then they will be forced to either make the supply drop system better or get rid of it completely.
But
See,
honestly,
reason-
we all know that won't happen.
We all know that
The
won't happen,
reason
but
I
we can
think-
always have hope.
Yeah, the reason it won't happen is because, and I can say this for myself, I have this feeling, people want to be able to log on to Call of Duty, feel like they've earned that secret camo that you have to get all diamond for weapons and stuff like that. They want to be able to be top 1,000 in the leaderboards. They want to have all of that, like their max rank, and they want to be able to log on and feel like they have everything in supply drops, because that's a really good feeling to be able to go into a game and know, oh, I pretty much beat the whole multiplayer, and you beat multiplayer. Like that's a hard accomplishment. So that's why people buy these guns, because they want to feel like they own everything.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be hard to come up with a solution for it, but it is possible. But it still won't fix everything.
Yeah. Like honestly though, Activision is walking a very fine line between kind of like almost abusing the community and doing it on a business standpoint.
They're just milking the franchise
Yeah.
for what it's worth.
They're
Like,
honestly, I feel like they know that it's depleting and that it won't go on for much longer, so they're just trying to get the most money out of
yeah,
it.
they're
before
just they know it's a dying franchise. It really is.
It's almost like you have a really crappy restaurant, so you light it on fire, make it look like a grease fire or something, and you get an insurance claim for it.
Pretty much, like, yeah,
That's a
Like-
perfect way to describe that.
because it's even if they didn't add supply drops, the Call of Duty's dying. It really is.
It
Like
is,
with the
yeah.
advanced movement system in the future, it it's an old franchise, and it has a good community base, but it's going down the drain.
Because of the
So I
stupid
think
reason too.
that's what also, yeah, and I think that's what triggered them to say, you know what, we're just gonna just give it as much money as we can get, because that's what we need right now.
Yeah. Honestly, the only reason why they're being kept alive is because we all know that they're probably gonna remaster Black Ops 2 and Black Ops.
Yeah,
Well,
and
Black Ops,
okay,
the original Black Ops is already backwards compatible, but they'll still probably remaster it anyways.
yeah,
To
and
be honest.
back what I said earlier, they're just trying to make as much channels as possible to collect money.
And the thing is, after they remaster Black Ops 2, the only other game after that they have to remaster is MW2, and then after that they're out. MW3 was good, but it did not have the biggest fan base. So, like,
Oh no, they're still gonna. I feel like they're gonna remaster him. What's it called?
They can remaster every single COD that came before Advanced Warfare. They could, and
Yeah.
they know you know you're gonna add supply. You know they're gonna add supply drops. You know they're gonna ruin the game. You know they're gonna add these weapons. It's just it's to the point where there's no hope. I'm sorry, but there's really no hope.
now see,
Battlefield outsold Call of Duty this year. Battlefield has such a better, like, they have microtransactions, but it's like, first of all,
It's
I'm
better
sorry, the
system.
Battlefield 1 camos are trash. I'm sorry, I
they
don't
really
like.
are.
Yeah,
Plus this World War One.
they're not that interesting.
It's such a dull
Like
supply drop system. Nobody's gonna buy
like
them.
yeah, half the time you're looking at like oh wow, this gun looks amazing and stuff, and whenever you get into the hellfire of battle, things start exploding next to you, and then
You're not looking at your
is
gun.
just
Mud
covered in
gets
mud.
on your gun, so you can't even
Mud
see
gets
it.
on your gun, not bun, gun, or
Your
like
bun.
maybe your 80. Well, I mean, like if you have a man bun, it mud will still probably get on your man bun. But um, but yeah, like mud gets on your gun, you're ADSing or you're not focusing on your gun or anything like that. It's just like there for like I don't know, just to look at for a quick second. Like
Yeah,
oh
so
hey,
it's
this is
such a
pretty cool,
dull.
or oh hey, I got this. And also the thing I think that is kind of BS is what Battlefield did with their supply drops, is that they came out with like this special tank skin, and like they made the drop rate like 0.1 or 0.2% without telling the fan base, so people are spending an unbelievable amount of money. So like you have like a 1 in 1 millionth chance of getting this camo, like this super rare camo, but they just put it as a normal legendary camo. But then eventually whenever people started getting pissed off at them, they're like, oh no, sorry, it was a typo, we meant to put ultra rare or whatever. It's just like,
No,
Yeah.
come on.
my the point I want to make real quick is they have one saving grace, and that is if all the developers come together and say, hey, we're not going to pump out these games for you if you don't fix it. Because
And that goes to
They're
the
getting
point
paid too
where
much
it's
money
the if
to
it's
do
if
that.
it's the developers, or is it Activision?
exactly.
That
Because the developers,
because
they have the
we-
power to say, Activision, we're not making these games for you
we
anymore.
could
But they don't.
we could
But-
be blaming Activision, and yeah, part of it is Activision, but it also could be like a huge part of it could be the developers, and like for example,
I honestly feel like
when
the developers don't have too much of a say in that type of thing, though.
yeah, but
To
But
be
this
honest,
is the thing,
I
if
feel
they,
like
like-
they hire the
Example.
developers to make the game, and then maybe like do a little bit of coding here and there, fix the game, DLCs, stuff like that. But I think that the money craving idea, or like the money craving factor about it, I think comes from somewhere up top.
The thing
Well,
is, though,
for
Caleb,
example,
the
pretty much on
the
Twitter,
developers have the
Okay, go.
power to say, we quit and go work for a different
Yeah, that's
company.
true.
But they won't do that because they are making money. So,
A lot.
they're making a lot of money.
For example, when the Galil and the ballistic knife was added into Black Ops 3, right? Black
Oh,
Ops, the Treyarch Twitter, posted out this image of the ballistic knife and the Galil and said, "Hey, these weapons have just been added into supply drops. For all you Black Ops vets, go get them now." That's pretty much saying, even if you're a COD vet, if you've played every single COD, if you've played every single Black Ops game, if you've loved this franchise, if you reach max prestige, if you've supported Treyarch the whole way through, and you've played with these weapons, screw you. That doesn't matter at all. We're gonna sell it to you. Like they're also promoting it, and yes, they might have to promote it because that's in their contract, but still like they promote it to such a point where it's like it is their fault kind of also.
Now, see,
Yeah.
like what
By the
Caleb
way,
said,
guys,
they
I
might
can't-
not
I-
have the
I can't
power to
believe
say
this is
otherwise.
huge.
The only thing they can really do, the only confirmed thing that we know that they can do is quit. We don't know what else is in their contracts, but we know that they can quit if they want to. But then they lose money, and that puts a lot of people out of jobs. So I can understand why the developers are just kind of like standing by and letting this happen. Because if their only option is to quit, that puts so many people out of their jobs. And what are they going to go do?
The
Work for a different
developers-
company, but...
See,
I mean,
the
like if
developers-
you're main developers for Call of Duty, I'm pretty sure you're gonna get picked up pretty fast.
Yeah, and plus, the developers, pretty much their job in this supply drop system is to say, oh, it's fine, we'll fix them, and then they don't fix them.
Or like determine like the drop rate of it pretty much.
Now,
Yeah,
see,
their job is to keep saying they'll fix them, like, just to provide hope to the community, pretty much.
that hope's going to die eventually. That spark's going to go out, and we're just going to realize they're never going to fix it, so I don't get why they keep saying it. Let's just stop buying them. Or we're going to keep buying them, and COD's going to thrive still. Or COD's going to die out, and nobody's going to ever play COD again until they fix their stuff. But then, like what Ryan said, we're always going to have that taint memory of, oh, the second it peaks again, they're just going to start adding in supply drops.
Yeah, so I think it's just to the point where we can't do anything at this point. The developers, they probably want to do something.
But
Excuse
they
me.
also like money
They
at the end of
probably
the day.
want to do something. But they like money at the day, and they're not going to do anything.
I mean,
So-
to be honest, if I'm making that much money, I wouldn't necessarily want to quit.
Yeah, and that could also affect the gameplay by them worrying more about how they're going to implement the supply drop weapons or how they're going to balance these weapons. They could worry more about that than they are normal gameplay. Like
Yeah.
it can be like really bad, and it probably is.
Now,
Probably
see,
a crap show over there.
again, at the end of the day, the developers can quit, and the main developers will get picked up, and they can make other franchises bigger than Activision, and then Activision can say, oh my god, we made a huge mistake, but it's not going to happen. And I don't know why the developers are just letting their franchise, a franchise that they've worked hard to build up. I'm sorry, but I never played COD 4 until it was remastered. So I've never even had the original COD 4 experience.
Yeah,
But-
same.
They took a
I started
while
at
to...
COD 4.
I don't know if this is 100% true, but most franchises take a while to build up, and there was probably a low point in their franchise. And the developers are just basically saying, screw it, we don't care about our franchise anymore. We've made enough money at the end of the day to retire. They're going to
My
let their
first Call
franchise
of
that they
Duty
worked
game
hard to
ever, I
build
believe,
die.
was... Sorry for interrupting, but my first Call of Duty game, I believe, was COD
MW2.
4. But I personally started out video games on Halo.
Same.
which
Same here.
definitely
I started with
in the right
Halo
place.
2, and then I played COD 4. Not really that much, but I was pretty okay at it, decent at it. I really got into it at World of War.
Yeah.
Now, see,
Oh,
World
yeah,
at
World
War
at
was
War was
probably when
definitely
they were
good.
like, okay, we have something going here. Let's keep going with this. And that's when they started building their community and making it really good. But then they just decided, hey, we're going to throw that all away by adding in supply drops, even though we know the community hates them.
Modern Warfare pretty much built the community, and that's another reason why people are pissed is because COD Modern Warfare is one of those like series where it's like it's so beloved by like the fan base that pretty much like when you put in a new gun like that, you're killing the fan base. Like that's all you're doing. Is you're not making profit anymore at that point. You're just killing it. And because people have such a love for that game. That's what built Call of Duty for them.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so what do you think? Let's do conclusions here. My conclusion is, until they fix it, it's gonna be a problem. It's always gonna be a problem, and they're always gonna like no matter what happens, we're always gonna be like, oh, they'll always just add it in later if they're going down in profits. So the fan base is split now. It's not what it once was, and the franchise may or may not be ruined within the next couple of years. That's my conclusion. That's my take on it. Ryan, you?
So we kind of got a little off topic, but we kind of like a little bit started talking about like other games. So I'm gonna kind of change the topic to is Call of Duty would Call of Duty nowadays be better if there weren't any supply drops in it? Definitely. I feel like supply drops is pretty much the worst thing to happen to Call of Duty. Like I remember when people complained about Last Stand and Martyrdom and all that stuff.
And
but
that's
now
so.
all people complain about
That's
is
nothing anymore. Sorry.
yeah, that's nothing anymore because all it is supply drops. Like that's pretty much it. We can't do anything anymore. We know it's gonna happen. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We can't. Supply drops ruin Call of Duty. Caleb.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, in my opinion, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. So, in conclusion, supply drops ruin Call of Duty, especially Infinite Warfare.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank both of you for joining me here in this podcast. That's going to do it for us today, guys. If you like this video at all, please leave a like on it. Subscribe if you're new. And you can see more podcasts in the future because I had fun with this, guys. I don't know about you. I had fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, guys, that's it for now. And I will see
love a
you
good rant.
at the Revolution.